Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at my Metal Gear collection. There's a lot of stuff here, so I just want to kind of breeze through it, maybe touch on some memories along the way, and don't worry, there will be a lot more Metal Gear videos in the future. As you can see, there's a lot to cover. So, let's get right into it. Metal Gear is one of my favorite games ever. It all started for me with MGS1 and MGS2. My mom gave me Metal Gear. She went and got me Metal Gear Solid 2, and it also got me Metal Gear Solid 1 from like EB Games, and got it on Christmas, and went over to my buddy Chris's house, as I would always do in middle school around those years in 2001. I guess it might have been the beginning of high school. And we would always play in his breezeway. We would play video games, and he and I would play on a bigger CRT. He had like a Wega 32-inch, which was really nice, and I had some like older CRT, but it still worked well. And then we would relegate our buddy Ariane to like kind of just weird and shitty TVs, or like, whatever, the scraps that he would use. So he played through Metal Gear Solid on this PS1 that I had, that had like this big third-party screen, because it was before the LCDs came out. And that was like my first experience with Metal Gear Solid, and it was crazy because it was still so memorable and so cool. And like, I still remember that to this day. And I didn't even play the game, but later I've beaten it a bunch of times, 20, 30 times. One of my favorite games, but it all started back then in Chris's breezeway. So, thanks to those times. Love those times. Metal Gear is awesome. So that's how it all started for me, was for those two. So I kind of want to breeze through these because there's a lot here, and I don't want to spend eternity on all these, and each of these could get their own video. So let's just start off at the top. So we've got VR missions. VR missions is classic. It was cool that they had like this extra content that you could kind of play if you were really into Metal Gear. And like my same friend Ariane, who beat the game on the tiny screen, was real into VR missions. So good memories of VR missions. I've never played this. This is Integral. This is a Japanese version of the game. Apparently all the speedrunners play this game because you can skip the cutscenes. So one day I'll check that out, but never played it. Now we're getting into kind of like the PSP stuff. So there's a lot of PSP stuff, surprisingly, for Metal Gear. I mean, there's at least these 4 games. There might be more. The first 3, well, I believe the first was Metal Gear Acid. So that's like a card-based game. I've played this once or twice when the PSP, when this game came out. So I need to go back and play it, and that's why I still have it. So, but I don't think this is my original copy. I think I picked this up again. So, and then we've got Acid 2, same deal. I picked these up as a lot. So I'm not gonna sit here and talk about those much because I haven't played them. Then we've got Portable Ops. Portable Ops is cool because I think you're playing as like Big Boss, and it feels like, it follows the events in Snake Eater. So yeah, this one's like canon. So this is a cool game. So I like this one. I got to go back and play this. This is cool. Peace Walker, and you could still get this like as of like a year or 2 ago. So maybe year 2.5. But I mean, it was only like $40 on Amazon, and it's brand new. So that, I'm happy with that, and I have a digital download. So I can always still play it on my PSP if it's downloaded on there. But I have this, so we're good. So Peace Walker, I haven't actually beaten it, but I would like to one day go back and revisit Peace Walker and play through it. And I'd like to play it on the PSP because, hey, why not? So here's some other ones, and sorry if I sound like I'm rushing because I kind of am. I'm trying to breeze through all this. We've got the HD collection. This one's cool because it had Peace Walker, and you could play it on like a big screen. You still kind of had that option with a PSP 2000 or 3000 because you could have the cord which allowed you to hook it up to your TV, but nonetheless, still cool. And another awesome feature that I liked about this game is that you could transfer your saves between the Vita for MGS2 and MGS3, which would basically allow you to like go. It's like an early Switch almost. It's kind of cool. So I thought like that was a really neat feature of this. I liked that they did that, and I actually have taken advantage of it quite a few times, like recently, actually, as recently as when I got married. So not that long ago. Anyway, getting into some more PS3 titles. We've got these two that are unopened. This is the Legacy Collection. This has like every Metal Gear game in it. So if you have a PS3 and you've never played Metal Gear, highly recommend you pick this up. As far as I remember, I haven't looked into it in a while. I think you can still get these new, so they're probably pretty cheap. They've been printing these forever. So the Legacy Collection, and it's got everything. It's got like all the stuff that we're talking about here in one compact collection, so you don't have to have all this stuff lying around. And then we've got MGS4. MGS4, I'm going to be honest, is probably my least favorite of the series. I got to give it another chance. It's just I've never been able to get into it the way I have with the others and kind of like really like figure it out. Whereas the other ones, they've, over time I've really become accustomed to how they play. So I'll have to go back with MGS4. Still a great game. And then we've got Revengeance Rising. I've never played this, but same deal. Got this on Amazon because it was like $20. So, I mean, one day I'll check it out. It looks cool. It's like an action game. It's part of the canon. I mean, Raiden turns into like Cyborg Ninja. So, alright. And then we're cruising right through. We've got the Legacy Collection. Mine's a little banged up because this is my original copy, but this is a great, this one was really cool too because this was like the first collection I think that they had come out with. They were doing like the Onimusha stuff, and I wish mine was in better shape, but it's been through a lot, I guess. I've kind of, because these were my playing copies for a while, so. Yeah, these came with me through a couple moves. So, well, good memories. So, the Legacy Collection. And another cool thing is like the artwork on these is interesting. In case you haven't ever seen it, like it's just looks cool. It's cool looking stuff. So, all right, and on to some more stuff. PS4 MGS5. So sad when I beat this because I knew it was the end, but it was really good. And like the way even though it's not the full game because there was going to be like two or three more chapters, which is just like, why did they have to, whatever. At least we got it. At least it's here. At least the story's been completed full circle. It's awesome game. So, MGS5. Another awesome game, Twin Snakes. This is like, it sucks that this game's like stuck in like some sort of limbo where it can't ever be remade. Or like Metal Gear Solid 1 can't ever be remade. For some reason, I don't know why that hasn't been redone. You would think that would, with all the remakes these days, that would be a surefire remake, but oh well. This one's great. You get the Metal Gear Solid 1 story in the Metal Gear Solid 2 engine, so you really can't go wrong with this, but I think this is kind of expensive these days. So... Oh, and I love this one. The Xbox copy of Substance. I picked this up recently. I remember when it came out, I was like pissed off. Because I was like, what? Another $50? for the same game with like a little bit different stuff, and I wanted it, but I didn't have the money back then, so I never got it. But you know, came across it later on, and I've played it. I love this copy. For some reason, I just love original Xbox because everything runs so smooth on it. That's the reason. It's a powerhouse. So, yeah, it's cool. This is a great game. It's a great way to play MGS2. Don't get me wrong, I love the PS2, but it's just cool when you've played a game a bunch of times to experience it in like a slightly different manner. And then we've got Substance for PS2. So see, still getting love. PS2 still gets its love. You gotta love that. And Substance is just, you know, an interesting. It's when he started doing like Hideo started doing like these remix. I guess they would be considered more like DLC these days. So kind of ahead of the times if you think about it. So cool stuff. Substance, gotta love it. This one I picked up recently because I had no idea this even existed, but the document of Metal Gear Solid 2. It's basically like, you know, they show how the game was made, and like it's kind of rare and it seems really neat. So I'll have to check this out and highlight it sometime because I've actually never seen this one. Peace Walker, or crap, Snake Eater. Jeez, Snake Eater, classic MGS3, and this one I really want to talk about just for a little bit because this one is the shit. This is my favorite, Subsistence, because this one has, well, I mean, so does that PS3 game. But this one has the MSX games, and like that's pretty much the only way you're gonna be able to play an English copy of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which is a freaking awesome game, and it's on here and it's really great. That's how I've beaten it. So highly recommended. This is a great way to play this. So if you have a PS2, and I know PS2s are like getting hard to come by now, they're getting expensive. My PS2 is like kind of messed up, and they're not as cheap as they used to be, which is unfortunate. So anyways, moving on. Let's go right here. The PC Metal Gear. This one's really neat because you can like freaking push the settings up to no end and it just runs so smooth, looks so crisp. It's great. The only downside is you might have to use a little bit of a weird controller because you're playing it on like a Windows 98 machine. That's how I have to use it. But it's an interesting controller because it's like the precursor to like the Xbox controller. It's like it's weird Logitech, but it's like, you know, it's odd. It's odd, but it's cool. This is a cool game. I love these big boxes. I never knew this existed back then. So this is and VR missions is included. Kidding me? What a deal. Ghost Babel, or the Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy. This is like really expensive now for some reason. I guess I don't know when it became so expensive, but this, I haven't beaten this one. But this kind of plays like the like MSX ones. So I'll have to go back and give this one another shot. The MSX, which is basically a Japanese computer. This is where it all started, baby, on the MSX. And we have the PAL copy, because this is in English, so the translation's not as good as the one on Subsistence. Oh, and Subsistence is also on this. So you can play it on, like, your Vita and stuff, and your PS3. It's all on the PS3 ones. But this is a really, like, it's cool that it started on here. I have a hard time, I don't have, a working tape recorder for my MSX, so I can't save. So it's been hard for me to kind of it's a difficult game, so getting through it's possible to get through it in one session though. So I'll have to give it another shot at some point because I have the hardware. So yeah, it's awesome that it's all started out on just like this computer that was not really equipped for action games, and that's why they kind of made it the way it was. So I'll touch on that later. And then lastly, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. This game is, I saved it for last because this game's insane. Like, if you play this game, I'm not gonna spoil it, but like, this game, I gotta do a video on this. This game is amazing. I mean, amazing. Like, if you like Metal Gear Solid, you owe it to yourself to play this game. Because this is like... Hideo is just a genius. Because this game is incredible. So, that's it. That's my Metal Gear Solid collection. I did want to touch on some other things, but I might just save them for another video and keep this one as it is. You know, I gave you a little taste of some of the reasons why there were hardware limitations, basically. But I want to save a more detailed explanation for the next video, or when I decide to do that video. So I hope you enjoyed looking at my Metal Gear collection. As you can tell, I've curated this over time. This is one of my favorite games, and I just really just love Metal Gear. Sad it's over, but hey, I guess all things come to an end. So I hope you enjoyed this video, because it's coming to an end, and we'll see you next time. I've got some exciting reviews coming up. I just beat a certain sequel, so I think you might know what it is, and we'll catch you in that video next time in Brian's Basement. Thanks for coming down, and I hope to see you again.